stuff. So
Right. It's all on you, man.
all right, here we go. Welcome to another episode of Two Guys, One Coup, folks. You see my guest host, Rich. I'll explain Dale's absence here in a little bit. Today on the show, we are going to interview a group favorite. Wayne Black's been on, one of our favorite guests that we've had on. He's going to come on to talk about his area of expertise, security. We've had a few incidents here in the last couple of weeks that show that we still have some issues out there, and we need people like him to help us. So again, we'll explain Dale's absence as he's going through some things, but we're going to talk about some other things today. The women having elective sterilization surgery. I just, folks, if you haven't heard this, and I'm not making this up because I couldn't make it up, but it's out there. So
shaving the head wasn't enough, right?
Apparently not. Shaving the head was just a step in that direction.
Yeah.
Now they're going to show us.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're showing us, but apparently it's making them feel better. So we'll have that and so much more on live from the Patriots Prayer Network. It's Two Guys, One Coup. And in honor of Dale, wake up, America.
That don't get you going, right?
Yeah, and Buckeye, yes, Eddie gets all the credit for that. That was very well done.
Well, don't you play the guitar riff in there?
Yeah, it was a little tough, a little hard to learn, but Dale's vocals are just amazing.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Aiken, Dale is doing as well as Dale can be. Folks, we need to say prayers for Dale and his family as they fight. I'm going to try not to break down. Okay. They're going through some things right now as a family, so please pray for them. His father is ill, is in the ICU. We won't go any more than that. Dale, if he wants to share, he can share when he comes back. But Dale's family, so his family's family. So we've gotten very close to his family as he has mine. So our prayers with him, and to everybody, please just send prayers for them and their family. So because they're working through it, and Dale, Rich, so he's
Dale's become a brother to me, so I like filling in for you guys, but not under these circumstances. But definitely, Dale, if you're listening or watching, your prayers are with us 100%.
Exactly. Always in our thoughts, my friend. Your family, you always will be. So love you, and God bless, and
absolutely.
Let's keep prayers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to bring, this. I don't think that's going to happen with what we'll end the story with that, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
So, folks, we've had some security issues here from Brian Thompson from the United Health president.
Right.
Horrible. I'm not going to bring up the guy's name. Who
we know more about him than the guy.
Exactly.
For Trump.
And I want to get into that too. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is very good. Two great minds think alike.
Yeah.
We have some drone issues that have been going on. And we have some, the results came from the Secret Service investigation. But let me House investigation into the failures of the safety of the attempt on President then running for President Trump and now President-elect, his life. And the man that I'm about to bring up, he has an expertise. Folks, you know him. He's been on the show. He's Wayne Black. He is the author of book School Insecurities. He is a security expert. There is nobody better. He is one of the professionals that are out there. He was, he was in charge of security for Donald Rumsfeld. So he knows his stuff. So we like to bring him on when we have situations like this. So without further ado, let's bring Wayne Black up to the stage. Let's go the 3 here.
There he is.
Move him into the middle. Hey, Wayne, how you doing?
Fine. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Wayne.
It's always a pleasure. We not as great introduction as Dale does it, but this was my first introduction of a guest.
You did all right.
So just I'll get better. Okay, so Wayne, we wanted to talk about some things. So let's real quick tell those who don't know who you are a little bit about your background, and then we will get into the Brian Thompson assassination, we can say.
I'm here in South Florida. My office is really an airplane seat lately. I've been traveling around quite a bit, but I'm law enforcement, Miami-Dade Police Department, State Attorney's Office in Miami. And then, as you said, I was blessed to be able to travel with Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld for about a decade until his death. And he's at Arlington, and he's probably rolling over in his grave based on what we've all been seeing. But what we do typically is we're doing training, firearms training for law enforcement and civilians and school security people, as well as threat assessments at schools around the country. So that's pretty much what we do.
And you do it very well. Folks, I'm telling you, reading the book, there's a step-by-step on how to secure your schools, basic stuff. And there's some not real expensive. There's some expensive things you do, and there's some inexpensive things you do, but nothing's more important than keeping our schools safe, especially the elementary schools, which are the most vulnerable, in my opinion. So Wayne, Brian Thompson, United Health Care president. Folks, we've all been frustrated with insurance companies. All right. We all have. Why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know, it's there, and we get frustrated. 98% of the normal people in this country never think violence. So from a security standpoint, Wayne, what could have happened? What should have happened? And from your, because I guarantee you when this happened, I thought of you right away, thinking of, oh man, he made these mistakes, or the hotel, was there an inside help? Because that's what some people going on about that. So what are your thoughts, Wayne, when you first saw that?
When I saw that video, my first thoughts was, where was his team? Did he have a protection detail? And why weren't they with him? And you know, we see this a lot. There's some sayings in our business. Budget-driven security will always fail. So every once in a while, we'll get an executive who wants to go with the lowest bidder. We don't even bid if that happens. And the second part of the saying is, pay peanuts, get monkeys. So who knows where his detail was? Did they stay at home? I mean, that'll unfold. Did they stay back in his home state? And if so, why didn't one of them come with him and hire some off-duty New York cops? If he'd had a protection detail with him that would have been outside waiting on him, none of this would have happened. They would have seen that guy and stopped him. So that's what I first thought. What was he doing walking by himself? Now, some executives have what Steve Tarani likes to talk about, normalcy bias. They think they're bulletproof, nothing can happen to them, it's always going to happen someplace else. So they do their own thing. You know, they'll get up early and jog, but it's up to the protection team to get out there and be with them. Exactly. And you know what? If you have a team and an executive says, no, you guys stay here, I'm going to jog by myself, that's when you quit, because it's really bad for your resume to have your protectee hurt when you're working for him. I mean, it's really bad. So that was my first thoughts.
Because there was some talk right now. I don't know if you've heard it, and maybe some people out there have it. Real, again, we have things coming through that we just don't know, right? So, but from what I understood, but from what was said on Fox News, was that he didn't bring his security with him. So what you're saying is, no, we're coming. Is basically, as you being hired as security, you're going to come. You're not, especially to New York City.
So some of those companies have in-house teams. We've trained a few of the high-end teams, and so they're employees and not contractors. So if he says you guys aren't coming, they want the paycheck. They're going to stay at home. They're not going to argue. If it was us as a contractor, we'd say we're either coming or we're going to withdraw from your detail. Look, it's really simple. Either you have protection or you don't. It's not a part-time deal. And especially with New York, look, if you've got a television, you can see the incredible crime rate in New York. So why wouldn't you have a detail? So go ahead.
Well, he's paying them to protect them correctly. So why wouldn't they step up and say, look, no, we're coming, like you said, or we're not going to be your security? I mean, that doesn't make sense. Why would I have the authority to say, I don't want you there, I guess, when I'm paying you to protect my life?
Well, typically it's up to them if they're employees versus contractors. But it's as we now know, it's a mistake. And so healthcare officials around the country now are clamoring. We're getting some calls. Can you do this? Can you help us? And all that. That'll last about a month or two, like a school shooting that peaks up and then it'll go down again. Whew, I'm glad it didn't happen here. I'm glad it didn't happen to me, and it's over. That's normalcy bias.
Yeah, we've got a idiot out here that keeps posting some crap. But we're the security portion of things. As CEO of a insurance company, we talked about this off air. They're millionaires. Okay, so they can afford security, and they should have security because it is one of the most hated positions you can have in this country. And we have a left of this country that is very dangerous, that is very evil in their thoughts. And the fact that there was no security there. But the one thing I will say, and it's unfortunate that it had to happen, but now we've been hearing that the CEOs of all of the insurance company nows are being removed from their web pages, the pictures. So to help, because what scares me is this a one-time thing, or could this be copycats trying to do things like this to say, hey, I'm going to show you, which is showing nothing.
Have you seen the wanted posters in New York?
No.
They've got pictures of other officials, and they've got him crossed off, but they've got 2 or 3 more next to it.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's ugly.
So this could be.
This is not one incident here.
Yeah, and so this idiot over here from Facebook posted like 7 to 10 different posts, and it says "Justice for Jordan Neely, execute Daniel Penny." To me, the right verdict came out of that one. Don't threaten people's lives on a subway, and then this doesn't happen. So, but I don't want to get into that right now. We can talk about that later. So, okay, Wayne, we talked a little bit about drones, and you did send me something that was interesting that I had no idea. So thank you for sending me that. So KJP, which I bet you she can't wait for the final days to be done, because the lying that comes out of her mouth is just amazing. But so 100% guaranteed it's not a foreign country. They know that. So does that tell you that they know what's going on? Or from what we've seen from this administration over the past 4 years, they have no clue what's going on or what they're doing. So give us your thoughts on the drones.
Well, what comes out of her mouth, if she says it's not a foreign country, that means it's a foreign country. If she says it was not Hunter's laptop, that means it's Hunter's laptop. So it's just 180 pretty much. But why don't if it's ours, if those are ours, why don't they tell us? And those guys are those drones are violating FAA regulations about flying over populated areas and flying over protected defense spaces and things like that. If you Google that with FAA regs, you can see that most of these are in violation. So remember the Chinese drone that was as big as a car,
right.
flew over the United States. Oh, it's not a big deal. That thing was sending our military information back. So I cannot wait until January 20th. If we can, hopefully we can make it that far.
That's the scary thing in itself. But okay, now again, reports come out, the Coast Guard saw it. Okay, so the Coast Guard, if there is this is why I'm very, very suspicious that I believe that it probably was ours, because the Coast Guard brought it up. Hey, we saw it. Here's what it is. But there was it was like, let it go. Don't, because they could order it shot down, I would have thought, right? There's this drone over here. They're swooping in on us. They're looking at us. We got to get rid of this thing. And nothing. And it's like, and just to sit there and tell us, don't worry. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. So police departments use drones and they say that's our drone. Schools use drones more and more now. Private schools especially are using drones to patrol the perimeter because it's quick and easy and the visibility is great from a couple 100 feet. And they just say it's our drone. So, but we've been worried about drones for years over special events. And there's been technology out for years. There's a group called the Drone Buster Flex Force, and they have the ability to electronically grab a drone and bring it down. There's Skywall 100, which is that net thing that I sent you. They can throw a net up on a drone. So if we don't know who these are, let's bring one down and check it out. I can tell you if it flies over my house, I'm bringing it down. It's called double-aught buckshot out of a 12 gauge. It's a new invention.
A new invention.
Some of those old reliables still come in handy, don't they? Okay, Rich, do you have any?
Yeah, as far as a drone, how high can they actually receive data if they're flying over? I mean, what's the height? Do you know? I mean, obviously, a lot of these drones aren't even visible to the eye, right? I mean, they're up pretty high.
Yeah. Well, some of those that are up there above. So there's this 400-foot FAA ceiling.
Okay.
Right. But there's also closed airspace over President Trump's house, the military bases, and
White House,
things like that. Yeah. So just like we did with the Chinese drone, if they're up there, we can take it out. We can shoot it down. So the deal is, did we identify it and do we have the will to shoot it down, or what do we know about it? I think this administration is just ignoring it.
Exactly.
And so that's when all these theories come out and paranoia.
Yeah, if you don't want conspiracy theorists, don't make us conspiracy.
Don't make us.
Tell us something. And this administration has caused so many conspiracy theories because we just don't know. We know there's lying going on, and then we have to start trying to pick apart. I know KGP said yesterday that he's always been honest with the American people. I have yet.
He just changes his mind a lot. That's all.
But okay, so what is your thought, Wayne, in your professional opinion? Maybe you don't want to speculate. I don't know, but what is your opinion on these particular drones? What are they, and maybe what are they doing?
Yeah, I think that it's a combination of amateurs that are liking to fly them. Everybody's got one nowadays. I mean, we have one. We use it to assess property and stuff like that. But it's the perfect time for a foreign entity to merge in with our drones. Think about that. So we think, those are probably our drones, or that it's the real estate guy or this guy, or it's an amateur. But why not send in more drones? China's been doing that for a while, right? We knew about that. So if I'm China, I would send my drone in and merge it. And then the trick for us, for the United States, is to try to separate good guys from bad guys. So it's a mess. It's really a mess.
There was a gentleman on Drone Expert on Fox that was saying that this potentially could, I mean, there could be a ship out in the ocean that because they have, if you have the right linkage, right, the like I don't want to call it Wi-Fi, there's got to be something different maybe, but if it's powerful enough, you can fly it from offshore into shore and still be okay. You still have access to it and everything else. So again, these are speculations because we don't know. You know, we don't know what's going on. But if there is a ship offshore, I would like to think we know it's offshore. I mean, this administration's scary, and it scares the heck out of me. And you know, who knows what happens? And I agree with you. Can we make it until the 20th or 21st? Can we do that? And,
well, look at what's happening in Israel and in the Ukraine. I'm worried about kamikaze drones.
Yeah,
drones with explosive packages that they just fly into things.
Never thought about that. That's a totally different thing from World War II with the kamikaze pilots and stuff of that. Boy, never thought about that. That's scary.
Yeah, the whole thing just.
Well, we know the objective is to find information, correct? I mean, that's what the bottom line is, to find out what's going on.
And to reassure the American people. Yeah. I mean, how many times do they tell us that? They care about us. They care about the American people. No, you don't. You know, you don't care. You care about these illegals that are coming across this country, but you don't care about us.
So we know how to take them down. So for Jean-Pierre to stand up there and say it's no big deal, that in itself is a lie.
Right.
How can she or anybody identify there are thousands of these drones out there? Which is which?
Which one's not a big deal?
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Yeah. Yep. Which one's not? If I'm just doing a survey of my property, that's not a big deal. But if China's bringing one over here, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. And you do the survey during the daylight. So you can see, not at night.
Not at night.
And then if somebody looks up, you don't turn the lights off on the drone. So that's what's happening. No, it
just scares me that it was over his golf course that he plays at. That's where a lot of have seen. Now again, it was at night and everything, and then of course over some military installations. And didn't we already learn this with China with the balloon coming across and all of that stuff
across the whole country before he knocked it down?
I don't know. And again, I'm not an expert in drones by any stretch of the imagination, but I know that they can become very dangerous with the wrong people working with them. Right? I mean, anybody can modify them. So let's hope it never gets to that. Let's hope we can figure this out before something tragic happens.
Well, just like the one comment, I don't know if you saw that, Jim, we have been proven right too many times.
Yeah, the Aiken likes to make those, we're not conspiracy theorists. We are, things aren't adding up, and it's pretty obvious. Theorists. That's because that's where it's at right now. They call us conspiracy theorists. We call it, no, this is our truth, right? And because it has been proven time and time again that that's what's happening. So yeah, it's I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens here and just cross our fingers that nothing serious comes of it. Okay, so we were talking a little bit about the Secret Service, the group of congressmen that got together to figure out what happened, what went wrong in Pennsylvania with President Trump and the assassination attempt. And the results came out, in my opinion, obvious, right? There was obvious neglect. The things that they pointed out were obvious. Okay, so we knew that. But some of the things that came out to fix. Okay, now I did not realize this. And again, maybe this is my ignorance with how Secret Service works. I did not realize that Secret Service was in charge of foreign dignitary security as well. That if a foreign entity asks for it, they have to give it, and it comes from the Secret Service. So I did not know that. Right. But one of the possibilities of fixing it, okay, is to have another entity, another government group, whether it's the FBI or whatever, to protect foreign dignitaries, to allow more agents to be able to protect our politicians or our presidential candidates running for it. What do you think about, if you've seen it? I don't know if you've seen what the report was or anything on the report that came out But in your opinion, because you are very much aware of what goes on in Secret Service, you support them because we want to make sure everybody understands the agents. The agents are doing their job. They do the jobs to the best of their abilities with what they're given and everything else. It's the higher ups that are the problem. Okay, if I think I've said that right. So Wayne, what is your take and what is your opinion on that?
Well, let's look at a change in what happened. Secret Service used to be under Treasury,
Right.
and then 9/11 happened, and they swamped them over in under Homeland Security. So they were a big deal under Treasury, and now they're one of the smallest enforcement groups under Homeland Security. So they're sort of like the adopted child that people don't always pay as much attention to. Their role is just super vital. So that's part of it. They need to have more horsepower and more backing, and go back to the old ways. But they were infected with DEI and all the woke craziness during the first during this administration, and with the director, with Cheadle, rather than doing a meritocracy. So that's part of it. Department of State security is really sharp, and they protect a lot of dignitaries, and they try to coordinate things. But typically, the Secret Service has been responsible for security for heads of state and their families. So that means if the president of Nigeria, for example, wants to come to New York for a shopping trip, guess who's hanging out with them when they go to Macy's? All right. So all that does is that dilutes the Secret Service, perhaps. So I don't know how many people they have, how many agents, but their Secret Service is also, most people don't know this, also responsible for counterfeiting and bank fraud. Now the Presidential Protection Detail takes precedence. But when they get so thin, spread so thin, especially during an election year, they're going to use, they used to use what they called OTAs, other Treasury agents, and those were guys from ATF and things like that. Now they're using Homeland Security people, HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, and that's what we saw in Pennsylvania when those ladies could not put their pistol back in the holster. That was frightening.
That was extremely frightening.
Yeah. So
well,
a lot
you brought
of those,
up the picture, plain and simple, of the one agent right in front of President Trump. What his head was right there.
Yeah.
She was too short.
Right.
So it isn't her fault that she wasn't 6'3".
Correct. Right.
But she did the right thing. She followed protocol, and those were real Secret Service agents on him. But the other guy that ran off stage, and then the holstering and pointing the guns at the crowd was outrageous. Lack of muzzle control. Anyway, those ladies, probably nice ladies, they were working fraud the week before, and now they're in the middle of a shooting, an attack to kill President Trump. So,
and it's not that they're not capable of doing their job; they weren't trained to do that particular.
That was my question. Wouldn't they be uneducated for what just happened?
Yeah. Well, they don't have the training. I mean, it's just over and over. You know, they need the train. So, how do we fix that? We get a new director in there, excuse me, and a new government that starts hiring agents from special teams. Secret Service has a thing called CAT, Counter Assault Team. And those are the guys the guy jumped on stage with a rifle and dressed in black. So why don't we hire agents from Delta, SEALs, Rangers, those kind of guys who are used to it. They've been there, they've done that, they've been shot at. Those are the people that we need to get involved in close protection. I mean, there's always liaison with the military anyway when the president travels, especially overseas. You know, they take care of the airspace and all that. We've got to hire the agents on the ground that are the good guys. You see the difference between Pennsylvania and the Republican convention. So Trump walks in to the Republican convention where everybody there went through a metal detector, but the Secret Service guys on him look like they came from the NFL.
Right.
That's what he should have had at Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
So and I'm sure they're taking care of him now. And when he's here in Palm Beach County, the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office is just awesome. They've got great special teams, and they're all over him, and he's going to be safe here.
Yeah, I would think I would be safe with the special teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking.
Just like anything, shouldn't we be hiring people that fits the narrative, that actually fits the qualifications, not just to fill a spot for gender or whatever, just to fulfill that? We need to look, if I'm the president of the United States, I want someone at least as tall as me, someone that can defend me, that can overcome the situation, not just someone that's there because they fulfilled a slot. Am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right. Well, that's what happened under Director Cheadle. Cheadle, which was she's a personal friend of the First Lady, and that's how she got in there, I believe. And her goal was DEI.
Right.
Remember, she said she wanted 30% women and all that stuff. Just that's not the right thing to do. And hopefully that'll change.
And I'm not opposed for a woman to be in that position if she can
absolutely
represent what she needs to do in that situation. That's what it comes down to. I mean, I want someone. Go ahead.
You're right, Rich. That's where I think DEI comes in. Is that we're not saying that women or individuals are not capable of doing the jobs. We're not saying that. They just seem to be hiring those people that aren't capable of doing the jobs because of who they are, what they follow. Well, and you're right. There's some military and Secret Service. I just don't see any need for DEI. No. I don't see any need for DEI anywhere, but especially in those groups. And it just seems this administration, the entire administration, is DEI. The entire administration, no qualification whatsoever.
And Secret Service keeps evolving. Am I right? I mean, it was implemented for counterfeiting. That's what it was implemented for in the 1800s, was to watch the counterfeiting that was going on. It was like 50% of counterfeit back in 1865, I believe, when it was instituted. And it changed after Lincoln was assassinated. And then it started evolving to what we know it as today. Am I correct in that assessment?
Yep. The guys that I know that are that are my age, that we grew up with, that are in the Secret Service, that we grew up in the business with, these guys would take a bullet for the president. And their actual plan is, when you're in the crowd and a gun comes out of the crowd with somebody's hand on it, you step in front of it, you grab the gun, you put it against your stomach, and you take the shot.
Right.
And we know that all of them would do that in that era. So it's a fantastic organization. It just needs to get cleaned up. And I'm not sure this current director, the acting director, is the guy to do it. You can't lose your temper like he does all the time in front of Congress and be respected. I mean, you can't go yelling at them. You go to Congress, you know they're going to do self-serving statements and screw with you. You can't yell back at them.
So who would you be your pick?
Yes,
you know,
that's my question.
Oh,
that's what I was going to ask.
Again, two minds.
Yeah. Well,
did you catch the question, Wayne?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Who would you? Do you have anybody in mind that you think would be the best choice for that Secret Service director?
Well, there's a bunch of good guys. They've retired. I'd bring back somebody from the old school, and put it back the way it was under Reagan and under Clinton, and when the goal was to protect the president and not all this DEI stuff. Cheadle has hurt that agency. The background investigations changed under her. Everything did.
Yeah.
But it's a great group. They've got to get back to their core values.
Now, we heard with the FBI, we heard Kash Patel's name constantly, right? And then eventually it was the worst hidden secret when they announced him. Dan Bongino's name comes up a lot.
I like that.
Do you believe that's an opportunity? I don't know if he gives up his show. Do it. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on Dan Bongino?
Well, Dan's a great guy. If he took the job, we should send him for a psychiatric evaluation. But right now he controls, the Secret Service is all about controlling the environment. Well, he controls his own environment right now.
That's true.
So, why would he give that up? No, he would change things like Hegseth would, and
Right.
like Cash would. There's some quivering dudes in headquarters at the FBI thinking about Cash Patel coming
Hmm.
in there, an honest guy from the Justice Department that has all the experience, that knows where the bodies are buried. Now, if he gets in there, he's going to change everything. You know,
Hmm.
Yeah.
we don't need 7 or 8 or 9,000 people sitting at the J. Edgar Hoover building in D.C. We need them out in the field
Right.
investigating Tren de Agua.
Right.
You know, in some of those cities,
Yeah.
it's going to take the FBI to come in and start charging people under federal law
Yeah.
to get rid of those street gangs. And that's what they need. The locals aren't equipped for the terrorism that Tren de Agua and some of those groups bring. They're not equipped.
No, not at
Right.
all. Buckeye,
and-
we beat. Yep, we're
we beat
again.
it- we
Our
beat-
listeners think the same way we do
Yeah.
too. Buckeye wanted to know what your thoughts were on
That's
Dan
on Dan
Bongino,
Bongino.
possible pick. And
Yep.
Mike from To the Point. I'm assuming this is Mike. So thanks for watching. Take the USS out of the DHS, and I think
DHS.
that's what you were saying as well. Correct?
100%. DHS, Homeland Security is this giant monster that's gotten worse. But no, make them important again. Put them back under Treasury and let them be more autonomous. That's where they should be.
Yeah. And then Tarna, Dan has the ears of legions of people in his podcast, so he's very powerful. And I love the pick so far by President Trump. I know there's some that are, like for instance, the Treasury Secretary, he was a Soros guy, where and stuff. Let's trust this president. Let's trust his decisions. Let's trust he's going to do. And I know this wasn't part of the discussion, but you brought his name up, and the momentum that Pete Hegseth has right now. What are your thoughts on? I know it's not security, but what are your thoughts on him? And it looks like Joni Ernst has changed her mind, and it looks like Lindsey Graham is leaning towards that. So, do we believe that he is going to be the guy? And in your opinion, because I don't think we've ever asked this of you, what do you think of that pick?
Oh, I think it's a good pick because, look, Pete was involved in Veterans Affairs before he was in the media, and he's always done that. He's been there, done that. And yeah, like a lot of war fighters, he's made some mistakes along the line, maybe drinking a little too much at time to time and all the rest. But his directive, his brief from the president will be to get in there and clean that place up and take DEI and woke out of the military so we can really be respected again.
Right.
I mean, just think of the damage these guys have done. Recruitment is down, in half. And I think another thing I think Trump will do on day 1 or 2 or 3, he'll bring back those guys from the military that were fired because they wouldn't take the poisonous COVID vaccine.
He's already said that that's going to happen.
That's going to be huge. I mean, think of the money. Think of the money we spent on SEAL team training, for example. And we fired, Biden administration fired entire SEAL teams.
Right.
It's just insane.
You think that's a group I don't want to get rid of. I mean, these are the guys that go in and make us sleep better at night. They're digging in the trenches. They're digging in the dirt. But did you hear about the SEAL groups that were going to go on and defend Pete Hegseth as a pick? Want him to be the pick. So look, if I'm a senator on the, leaning, am I gonna appoint him or am I not? Once I see the SEAL teams standing up for him, saying we want this guy, I'm sorry, I'm moving to that direction. I'm gonna side with those guys. These guys are the ones he is going to lead them, right? And inevitably, he's the one that's going to lead them. And I don't know. I don't like the bashing because we've all made mistakes in our lives. We all have. We've all done it. We wished we've done things that we didn't do. But should that tarnish who we are now as a person?
Well, the reason you say that is because you care about the country,
right?
More than yourself, more than just opposing Trump. There's going to be people in those hearings that they're going to filibuster and they're going to stand up and they're going to object to everything Trump. That's what they do. That's their job. They're not representing the people. They're representing their own ego,
their own agenda.
We'll see it. it'll be ugly. But I hope Pete gets through. He's a great guy.
Yeah, it would be fun. It would not fun, but I mean, it's going to be interesting on this because you've got these politicians. My favorite one are the politicians that are sitting there judging Pete Hegseth. How many of them have done what they're accusing him of doing?
Right.
I mean, that's what really frustrates the heck out of me. And then, of course, these politicians that approved these complete idiots that were in this administration.
Let's not get started on that one.
I mean,
That's a rabbit
honestly, you look at the anyway. We're getting off topic a little bit here. So, okay, so Wayne, kind of from a standpoint from schools, how are you today overall with where we are moving in the direction to protect our children in school when they're most vulnerable? And how are we doing as a nation? I know there's still room to be done, but in your opinion, are we moving in the right direction?
I think we are, but in some cases, like pulling teeth, they're all over the map. I was at a school in Tennessee recently, and I did a threat assessment, and they said, "What should we do?" So I gave them a list of things, which included ballistic window tint, ballistic window protection on their windows. And they didn't have the money, but they found the money. They found a donor and they did it. And that school is literally bulletproof. All they have to do is control the doors. Some schools say, well, we don't need that. Nothing's ever happened here. That's that false positive insecurity, Our problem in the country, and you and I have talked about this before, is we have a failure of imagination. We never imagined that this shooting would take place in New York against the healthcare executive. We didn't imagine 9/11, Pearl Harbor, the Cold, Sandy Hook, Columbine. We don't, our psychic doesn't allow us to think like that. So we don't prepare for that. So when we train school security people, we try to change their mind to say, okay, what we should be looking for is where's it coming from every day? Are we going to have an attack? Where's it coming from? And at the end of the day, when the kids go home, if you're good, then you've done your job until the next day. So that's the reason we wrote the book, for parents and grandparents to assist them to ask schools, what are you doing to protect my child? We can't be everywhere. A lot of schools think they know it all and they're solid, but you know what? They don't know what they don't know. And a lot of schools are unwilling to even ask, are we prepared? So in Texas and Florida and a couple other states, they're required to do a threat assessment themselves and send it into the governor's office under the Department of Education. Those states are great. Some states, it doesn't matter. In most states, independent schools aren't required to do anything. So it's all over the map. But I think we're getting better, and we're going to get better after the next school shooting, which I predict will happen. When I first came on your show, we said there's going to be more school shootings. And there were, in the next few months.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah. And when we don't lock our doors at home because we've had people break in, we lock our doors at home to prevent that. For security, it's preemptive. We do things to stop something. So these schools that say, well, it never happens here. Well, the people who protect their kids in their schools are the ones that's not going to get attacked. They're going to go to these schools that are easy targets. That's what we find out, that they will search out easier targets. That's where they go. Preventive medicine, preventive tactics is always better than doing nothing. Am I right?
You're 100% right. We talk about, you guys are all over the Second Amendment, and God love you for that. There's a saying, if you ever need a gun and you don't have one with you, you'll never need one again.
Right. I don't carry a gun to shoot someone. I carry a gun in case I need to.
100%.
To
Same here.
Protect myself and my wife. Right.
Gun owners do, right?
I'm not looking to shoot someone. I'm looking to protect my family. It's preventive. It's on me for that particular reason. If I'm in a situation, I'm not as easy target as someone just walking around.
Yep. Yeah, look, we know that bad guys, whether it's a school shooter, a terrorist, a purse snatcher, they look for a softer target because they want to succeed. They look for a soft target. They look for the lady on her cell phone walking out into the mall parking lot, Christmas, talking on the cell phone
Yeah.
with their purse open. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten to this thing where our minds are away from what's the reality around us. We've allowed our phone to become a part of us where we forget our surroundings. I mean, you see it at a lot of stuff going on at gas stations now, where people are stealing people's cars when they're pumping gas because they're on their phone. They're not paying attention. Or they're robbing these people or injuring them. I think, and I teach my wife. My wife's just a little thing. She's 5'3", 110 pounds. You know, it's just a 5'4". Sorry, Sharon. She wants that extra inch.
Remember that in.
But you know, she carries and she tries to keep advocate of what's around her when she's at any place, especially when you're doing right now at Christmas shopping. You made a good point. People walking out of a mall looking at their phone.
100%. Yeah.
Actually worked in a good segue, and I don't think you realize this or not. But when he talked about how do we forward think, I think now's a good time for you to talk about what you and Steve will be doing. Steve Tarani, who was on our show, not since we've been on this network, but we need to have him back. Maybe both of you come back. That would be awesome, having you both together. That'd be fun too. So what is on for you to explain to everybody what you and Steve will be doing here in the next couple weeks?
Well, first, Steve's book, Prefense. It's all about situational awareness. I think I told you this. I gave it to my wife. She read it nonstop in one sitting. It's not a large book. And she says, now I know what you've been talking about all these years. So it takes somebody else to tell you, but it's all about prevention and situational awareness. Steve and I have been training at the Hillsborough Police Academy, training SWAT teams in diplomatic protection. That's a good thing to do when a mayor comes from one city to another. So it's a 5-day course, 2 days shooting at the range, shooting and moving, 2 days driving, and 1 day practical. But Steve's coming down to South Florida on the 22nd of February and the 23rd to do edge weapons defense. And that's not nobody hits the mat. That's not a judo thing, but it's about edge weapons defense and practical deployment. Steve's a leading subject matter expert probably in the world on this. As you know, he designs knives for Benchmade and 511 and things like that. So we got that on the horizon. And then we're down at Homestead Training Center in January, training EDC people, everyday carry. So got a lot going on, but really Tarani's the best. And that training is open to law enforcement and civilians, February 22nd and 23rd. That's going to be in Broward County. So if anybody wants to come to that, give me a buzz, and we'll get you signed up. It's well worth it.
Is there a website they can go to, or something they can,
or a number they can call, or?
Yeah, they can. Well, they can go to my website, WayneBlack.com, or they can call me at 305-525-8013. And right now it's a
that's a brave thing you just did there.
Yeah, that's all right. Right now it's about half full. We take 40 in a class. It's a lecture and then an exercise, and we're using blue guns and rubber knives to practice. Cool. And we put it on for DEA about a year ago in Miami, and they loved it because they go into a lot of places overseas where they can't carry a gun.
Awesome.
So is there like any in that training, is there any like martial arts training with that, or any kind of receptive, to be able to fight back other than, so you're teaching someone coming at you with a knife per se. So I'm assuming there's some kind of martial arts or something that's attacked to that as well, correct?
There's simple counterattack techniques and some takeaways. Yeah. Okay. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking to Steve, Rich, he's man, the guy's amazing. And he talked about us, Dale and I, coming because we talked about coming to one of his training sessions, and I'm like, I don't think you want to give me a sharp knife to begin with. And he started laughing and he said, no, we give you rubber knives. Perfect, because I'd probably slice a finger off within the first 30 seconds.
Your finger probably.
Well, and Dale will stab me, so that.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite thing, and I don't want to give this away with Steve, the demonstration. He took a police officer in one of the last classes with a blue gun in his holster, and was 10 feet away. And he said, when I move, officer, you draw your gun. The guy said, okay, 10 feet away. The guy goes to draw his gun. He can't draw the gun because Steve has got his hand on it. He moved that fast. He's got his hand on
Wow.
it.
Wow.
Steve is below his waistline, cutting his femoral artery. So
Wow.
he's 6'4", 280, and moves like a ninja. When we have the training videos of Steve, and they're on my website, by the way, we have to slow those down 2/3 so you can see him move with a knife. So on my website there's a montage, Steve Tirani, and it's got sound and color, and it's just amazing to watch.
Well, Wayne, tell us, somebody like my wife that's small, how do they defend themselves against someone like that? I mean, what's the way? I mean, I'm sure there's people out there thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to ever. What's the point? Because someone's 6'4", 240 pounds, I'm not going to be able to. Is it just turn and run?
Well, yeah, that's the Nike method.
Yeah,
you turn your gym shoes and run. The trick is you don't get yourself in that situation to begin with.
There you go. Right.
All of those things have red flags. You know,
good point.
A bad guy doesn't appear at your car and say, give me your purse. He's got to get there. So you got to get off the phone. You got to be looking around situation. And with ladies especially, distance is your friend. You've got to create that distance. If you leave the mall or you leave a store and there's a couple of dudes standing next to your car,
right?
Don't go
back in the store. Go back in the store.
That's right. But we have this thing where, well, we don't want to be prejudiced. We don't want to make them feel bad. Well, no, you don't have to put yourself. I can tell you that when we talk to victims, Rich, they all say, I knew there was something wrong with that guy.
Right.
I just had this feeling, the hair on my neck stood up. So trust your instincts. We're animals. Trust those animal instincts and don't put yourself in the situation to begin with.
And
because everybody that's had something happen to them
has always said that.
Didn't think it was going to happen to them.
I didn't think. No. And women can even, or men as well, can put their keys through their fingers and also have that as a weapon if need be. Just little things like that. I mean, you could have a Kubotan on your keychain or something, or something. Use your keys as a weapon. A lot of people don't think that when you're walking out by yourself, especially now, Christmas season, put your keys through your fingers and have that as a weapon if need be. You punch someone 6'4", they're going to feel that.
Yep. The other thing is have a plan.
Right.
So the plan, for example, is don't go to an ATM. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. If I'm a bad guy, where can I get money? What's the quickest way without robbing a bank?
Hang out at an ATM.
Hang out at an ATM.
Right.
And then the other thing is, if you're approaching the parking lot and somebody says, get in the car, what's the plan? Never. I don't care if they've got a gun or a knife to your head or your throat. If they're going to kill you, they're going to kill you. At least you can be rescued right there. If you get in the van, we will never see you alive again.
Right. Well,
so have that plan in advance. Drop the simple plan for ladies is to throw your weight out from under you and drop to the ground. Make that person carry you and kick like crazy and scream and all the rest.
Right.
Don't, hobble over to the van.
Well, I think what you're saying, it's all coming down to preemptive tactics, meaning know your surroundings, pay attention, and in a situation that you can't control, know how to control what you can do on your end. A woman like my wife's not going to overpower a man like you are speaking, but what can she do in that situation?
Right. Create distance.
Right.
If you're at contact distance, meaning somebody can touch you, you've got a problem.
Right. And have a CCW, carry a weapon. We have to protect ourselves, especially, I'm not a big guy, but, I carry just for that reason.
And practice with
that's the key. You're right. A lot of people go buy a gun and put it on their hip and they never shoot that gun. Yeah. You should get out and practice with that gun, know how it handles, how it shoots, how the recoil on it, and how to load it, how to fast load it, everything.
Yeah. And practice being able to deploy it. So
In and right,
some,
coming
yeah.
in and out of the
So
holster. Right.
a lot of women, for example, will get not a gun purse, but a regular purse.
Right.
So they'll put that gun in there, and it's in there someplace between 15 tubes of lipstick and some makeup and a wallet and all that. Where is it? It's down at the bottom.
They can never find anything in that purse. You
no,
know that.
But get that's right. So get like or carry it on you, and then learn how to deploy it. Take some training where you can actually know when and where to deploy it, and then realize what that gun can do. So in the EDC courses, some people are carrying like a Glock 43X. It's a great little gun, right? It's small, 9mm, but what can it do? So under stress, if you're good, you'll be lucky at 7 yards to hit what you're aiming at.
Right.
So just so in other words, don't take the shot, run.
Right. And there's always that adrenaline as well, which is gonna hinder your target. I mean, as far as how you shoot, people don't realize that when you go to a shooting range, you're shooting a still target. Oh, I've hit it 4 out of 8 times, whatever, I'm doing good. But when you got someone coming, the adrenaline changes everything.
Yeah. So you lose fine motor skills.
Right.
So you'll be lucky. Like that's why I don't like those guns with safeties on them. You've got 2 safeties, your brain and your trigger finger.
Right.
Because you cannot flick off that little safety in an emergency.
Or rack your gun. I mean, or not keep one in the chamber. I mean,
forget it.
Why even have a gun if you don't have one in the chamber?
Right.
That's right. And if you're upset and your finger's in the trigger and you rack the gun, it's going to go bang.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it comes down to, I think, training yourself as far as preemptive. Just know your surroundings. That's a big thing. You don't have to be Chuck Norris to protect yourself.
Right.
Yeah. We have to develop muscle memory. So here's an idea. You drive down the street, somebody pulls in front of you, you automatically hit the brakes. Well, that's muscle memory. That's ingrained. That's right. That's the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, and act.
Right.
The trick is to get yourself like that with a pistol. So, and that takes repetitions. So
roughly 2 weeks of something of the same sort, right?
Yeah.
Get muscle memory.
Yeah. Look, all these world-class shooters, Robbie Latham, who Steve and I shot with recently out at Gunsight, these guys dry fire 30 times a night. So they're picking a spot on the wall 2 or 3 feet away and they're dry firing. So if they're doing it and they're the best in the world, we should do it.
And I think I agree with you. I think it comes down to that old cliche. Well, it probably won't happen to me. I probably never have to pull my gun. No, we should think, I may have to pull my gun. I hope I don't. I mean, 100%. Nobody wants to shoot anybody. Right. I don't want to shoot anybody, regardless of who you are. But if it's my life or yours, I'm going to choose me.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, Wayne, one last, how can they get a hold of you? How can they find out these training sessions again? Give your website and we'll.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it's wayneblack.com, just my name.com. And or they can call me at the cell phones right on the website. But take a look at the Steve Tarani montage so they can see what that knife training is all about. And yeah, it's all about training. There's some great places to train in the country. If you're out west, there's Gunsight, Arizona. Steve teaches out there. That's where he's based out there. He teaches there probably 2 or 3 weeks a month. And we're happy to help.
Perfect. Wayne, would you recommend anybody that purchase a gun get training other than just doing it themselves?
100%. Yeah, 100%. You can't do it yourself.
No. We always say training.
Yeah, we always say practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. So
there you go.
You got to figure out how to work it.
Right. You don't have to be a marksman, but you do need to know how to use it.
A lot of ranges now you can rent a gun, so it's like test driving a car.
Right.
So you can rent a gun. So what people, especially ladies, make a mistake is they ask the guy at the counter who wants to sell a gun,
which one should I get?
That's right. Which one should I get? So I had a lady show up the other class with a Desert Eagle.
Oh my!
That she bought. She didn't know what it was. but somebody said, oh, they said this was a good gun to keep
Looks
at home.
cool.
It is a good gun, but
Yeah, it's
not
a great
for
gun.
her.
Yeah, if you're going to shoot elephants, it's a great gun.
Exactly.
And then we have people that get these little 32s or 380s that are so
Mhm.
small. They have like a pink grip on them or something like that. Those are worthless.
Mm.
So yeah, but they need to get the right gun and get some
And get
training.
Get training
Yep.
on that with that gun.
Oh, 100%. And
Right.
learn about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not buy. Then we have people that they've got a 1911 Colt, they've got a Glock, they've got a SIG, and they carry different guns at different times. That doesn't work either in a stress situation because okay, where's the safety? Where's the where's the
Right.
sights? All the
So be
rest.
consistent with what you're carrying, not with while you're on your person. Correct.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, Wayne. There's a listener.
Very-
Thank you.
yeah.
Very informative. Yeah, I don't know if you want a starter's pistol, but so maybe I don't know. So, but that was LOL.
Yeah.
And then here, Desert Eagle for when your assailant is hiding behind the fridge in your neighbor's house.
Exactly. Just shoot through the fridge.
That's a good one.
So
those are good comments.
Wayne,
Yeah.
as always, it's
Yes.
awesome to have you on. We will definitely have you on again because security is there. But talk to Steve because I'm serious about this. And then when Dale's able, I'll speak to him. But we would love to have both of you on. And I think it would be a great opportunity to get both of you on. And if you're willing to come on with him, I don't know if you want to be seen.
Well, I don't know. You'll have to talk me into it. And I complained, when Steve has these knife trainings, I try to stand in the back of the room because sometimes he says, Wayne, come up here. Let me show them this impact takeaway. So he uses me as a meat puppet.
You're the guinea pig.
We call it a meat puppet.
Oh, Wayne, I see. Because when we talked about being in his training session, Dale always volunteered me for that type of stuff. So that was.
I can see that happen, Jim. Yeah. I'm with you.
Oh yeah, here's from Crazy Southpaw. This is my brother. Of course, my son and I took a Utah class back in the day. Holsters are very important too. So he brings
true.
that up.
Yes.
So
good point.
Because if you have a holster, you got to be able to take it out, right?
Right.
Well, the biggest let me respond to that. The biggest mistake people make is they buy a one draw holster, meaning Uncle Mike's or those soft, cool things but they collapse. So you draw the gun and you don't have to use it. Now what are you going to do with it? Your holster's collapsed. You can't put it back in. So somebody calls the police. The police arrive and you're standing in the parking lot holding a gun. That's not going to end well. So I'd like Kydex holsters.
Kydex.
There's some good leather ones that are made, but the Santes and stuff. But I've got a whole drawer full of holsters that we've done R&D on that I wouldn't carry. But I carry a Blade Tech clipped KLIPT because it hooks under your belt. That's inside the waistband, and that holster is quick, and you can reholster if you have to.
Awesome.
But we don't talk about that. Let's say you have to use your gun.
Right.
So you're wearing a white T-shirt and a ball cap, and you've had to shoot somebody someplace. Well, the people that are calling 911 say there's a guy with a beard, and he's got a white T-shirt on, the ball cap, and he's standing in the parking lot. He has a gun.
Right.
So the police, with adrenaline going, they're responding to you. So
you become the target.
You got to put that. You can't be, and you sure can't turn toward the responding officer with the gun.
Please don't do that.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, you're going to be put down. Right.
Yeah. You've got to reholster if the bad guy's down. You've got to do something.
That's a very good point. That's a lot of people probably don't
think about.
They don't realize that. I got this really cool holster.
I would venture that most people buy a gun, get a holster that fits the gun that they feel comfortable, put it on, and on their way. I'm thinking that most people don't take the incentive to actually learn how to use it, how to have the right holster to their body, to where they want to carry, whether it's in front, back, whatever. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I've had a couple of those collapsible holsters where it's hard to get it back in. You actually have to look down and make sure I very informative, man. Very the knowledge that that's priceless. I mean, people need to take note of this.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Wayne,
you.
thank you. Everybody, let's thank Wayne for coming on the show, and we'll definitely have you back, whether it's with Steve or not. I'll let you make that call, but we will reach out because, again, unfortunately, we're going to have security issues that pop up again. Whether
Sad,
it's
but
just another
true.
CEO, hopefully not a president, and then let's, God forbid, another school, and let's make sure we do this. So,
Yeah, and I don't
Wayne,
know if I don't know if they're done trying to assassinate President or elect President Trump.
so far they're not. So,
No, they're not.
God bless
there's-
Wayne. Have a Merry Christmas.
Yes,
If I don't see you before, and
Thanks, guys.
Happy New Year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming.
Same to both of you. Take care,
Yes.
Rich.
Yeah, thank you. Nice meeting you, Wayne.
Wow, folks, I'm telling you,
so much information.
yeah,
Jim.
he's great. I mean, he's about the guy. If you want to know anything about security, WayneBlack.com. Go out, and the videos, he's not lying. You got to go watch those videos
Right.
with Steve.
That was a
It's
plethora of
amazing.
information. I mean, it's hard to even grasp everything that he was talking about, but there's so much. Rewatch this and go back to what he was saying about just being preemptive. I mean, being prepared. So many times that we are not prepared. I
Well,
know I'm guilty of buying a gun and not even shooting it, and it sits, or I put it on myself and haven't shot it. I know I'm
let's go
guilty
back
of-
to the president of United Health.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, don't be that guy that, oh, should I bring security? Yes.
Yes.
You bring security.
Right.
There's never any I'm only going to be there for a short time. It's no big deal. No, if always be prepared. Always.
And our
think forward.
security, Jim, is our CCW, our gun on our person.
Mhm.
That's our security, because we're not having people walk around with security guards around us. So we have to be our own security.
Yep.
And
Okay, so I'm going to play a commercial here. We haven't
Okay.
played a commercial, so if Dale's watching, I'm going to get yelled at. So we will come back and wrap up. I've got a few comments I'd like to make on some things related to politics and some not. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
That's not. Whoops. See, this is why Dale does this all the time. Here you go, folks.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
Folks, that is gritgearapparel.com. Buckeye, as always. I don't
heard
know
they're
what we
pretty
literally
cool
do without
people.
her. Yeah. And the owners are fabulous. Especially
I heard that. I
Sharon's
mean,
great.
Yeah.
so folks,
And lock and load. There you go.
go
And
out.
lock and load.
Yeah, lock and
Warrior
load coffee.
Shield. Yes.
Lock and load coffee. Now I'm going to play because it's Warrior Shield Wednesday, so I will play that at the end. Thank
Okay.
you, Buckeye. I can't stress enough, folks. The clothing. I'm wearing this one. This body is fueled by coffee and patriotism because it is I drink their coffee, and it is a great cause. You guys you help first responders. You do things like that.
Yes.
You're truly patriots, and it's a small business which we want to make sure we get out there and buy all this from them. Christmas is coming. Use the code 2GUYS. 2GUYS. That's the number 2 guys.
10% off.
You get
10% off every order, not just
every
your
order now.
Every order. Yep, we've upped that to every order.
Yep,
and
so
Jim, your order is being packed up today. So
awesome. All right.
Yeah, so we made it by Christmas for you.
That's impressive. That's a big order, I guess.
It was, yeah.
Christmas.
Well, you and many others have done big orders, so
Good.
we've been pretty busy
Awesome.
working. We were here to like 10:30 last night, so
Oh, wow.
we're working 16, 17 hours getting orders out. We do have this Friday, the last day to guarantee it to get there by Christmas. Granted, we'll get it packaged up and shipped, and then it's up to the post office or UPS to get it to you.
Right. Yeah,
But
that's out of your control after that.
once we back it up, but I will have it printed if you order by this Friday.
That's
to
a
get
good
it
point.
out next
This
week.
Friday, folks. Let's make sure you get out there and get
people
it.
don't understand we're not Amazon.
Yep.
We are a print to order company. So when you order, we print it, and then and your coffee, we normally will roast that week and ship out the order, so you're getting the freshest coffee as possible.
And
so
you can tell.
Yeah, and you mentioned Warrior Shield. Through the year, we eventually money that's collected portion of that ends up at Warrior Shield Foundation, whether through donations from us, or financially. So your money goes to help vets and foundations.
It's
eventually
fantastic.
It ends there.
Yeah, great, and we'll get into Warrior Shield here in a second towards the end when we play their Warrior Shield Wednesday. So, real quick, I want to go over just a couple things. I'm going to talk about the crazy women out there that are getting these elective surgeries, and of course, I want to finish with I want to give my take, and I hope people out there don't care, or hopefully people out there care.
Right.
But I am going to talk about the college football playoff for just some time. I want to stress some things that I've found that just doesn't make sense. Anyway, so again, folks, if you haven't heard, there's these women that are going out and they're having elective hysterectomies. There's another term for it, but basically it's a hysterectomy. Okay. Mid 20-year-old women they're going out because they say, because I'm not letting President Trump dictate what I'm going to do with my body. Okay. It's abortion, folks. That's what they're talking about.
All right.
Because they don't want to get pregnant. Well, and to be honest with you, if there's people out there willing to do that, Rich, I think you and I are going to agree here. Don't have children. So I agree with what you're doing.
Yeah, there's other ways, and instead of doing a surgery of that sort, one, abstinence. Just don't have sex if you don't want to have babies.
Yep.
One way. If you want to have sex, there's a lot of ways to prevent it.
Condoms are out there. There's birth control of all sorts of kinds. And even if you do have that impulse, there's plan B. Right. There's things out there that you can take that,
right.
So, today's day and age, folks, if you get pregnant, it's your fault. And, exactly. And I hate the fact that people want to use abortion as birth control. I hate that.
Well, that's what it comes down to, Jim. That's what they're doing. Yep. We've gotten to the point where abortion is the alternative of birth control. That's what a lot of women are doing. I got pregnant. Oh, I'll just go have an abortion. No biggie. People don't realize the side effects of abortion. If you know anybody that's ever had one, a lot of times there's side effects to that. Yep. Mental side effects where it causes a lot of stress in someone's life thinking what they did.
The woman behind Roe v. Wade is pro-life today. Right. So, I mean, and women that go through the abortions when they have them, you hear the stories all the time. Now, granted, you have these idiots out there saying they want to get pregnant 45 times so they can have 45 abortions.
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that to your body?
This is the left. They're nuts. They're crazy. I don't know. Every day something surprises me more and more. And it scares me to the point we got to get to that inauguration day. We have to get, because what is going to happen between now and then?
Are you like me, Jim, just sitting here going, what from now until January 20th, what are they coming up with to hurt our country even more? I mean, Biden I think he's out there saying, what can I do to this country to make it worse before I leave? I mean, that's what he sits around, if that's what he's doing, or someone's telling him what to do. But
Yeah, it's telling him what to do.
probably the latter of those. Yeah. But the money he is spending is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and it's what else is going to happen? And I mean, we know there's something else out there. Like, for instance, what scares me is the blanket pardons for people on January 6th committee. Because the January 6th committee, we found out that why did Liz Cheney delete and not delete, but why did she delete or file or what
right?
Why she got rid of 117?
Right.
Why?
And why did Pelosi say no to the National Guard from Trump?
Yeah, exactly. So there's more to it than this. We know that there's FBI. Now, look, folks, I'm going to be honest with you, and I know I'm probably there are people in jail from January 6th that didn't even go into the building.
Right.
The process was completely taken out of it. They should be pardoned, and you can get there and get mad all you want to about January 6ers. They need to be pardoned. Now, I feel a little different about the ones that went in and actually caused damage. When you went into the building, you broke into the building, you went and you caused damage. Now, should it be 10 years?
No.
Right.
No.
Well, it should not be 10
it is a federal building. It is so it's going to carry more than if you just broke into a store. It's going to carry, there's a little bit more that you would have to serve for that, because it is a federal building. And I believe it would be considered a felony at that point compared to just breaking and entering. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes,
so
that's correct.
Right. So probably 5 years, I think it would be.
Yeah. Not 15, not how many there have been. So,
but there has been people that was just using the amendment of protesting and didn't break in. Nope. We're allowed to stand in front of the White House on this side of the fence and protest. We're allowed to stand in front of the Capitol. We're allowed to stand in front of the Lincoln Memorial if we want and protest. That's our given right. But when we vandalize, that's what I think you were talking about. When you actually commit a crime.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. So I want to be careful when we say blanket pardons for the January 6th.
No.
Now, again, if there's people that did go in and came out.
Right.
Okay. So they went in, they were like, okay, this doesn't feel comfortable with me, so I'm coming out. So, and then we talked to a wife of a policeman who is in jail right now, prison, that the friend that he went there with went into the building, actually went in, but then the friend turned on him.
Right.
And this police officer was outside helping another fallen police officer and a person who was ran over. They didn't even go inside. They're serving time in prison. They don't care. There's people in prison who weren't even there. They weren't even there. And so this was a setup from the beginning. And unfortunately, some people fell for it. They were antagonized and convinced to go in. And but yes, there was inside FBI. They were all over the place on this thing. But let's just pray that as of January 21st, we turn the page. We fix what's going on. The Department of Justice can no longer be this radical special police. I'm trying to think of Hitler's special. What's the?
No,
Gestapo. It's their Gestapo. That's what this is. And we are not the threat to democracy, folks. MAGA people, conservative people are not the threat to democracy.
Right.
It is the left and it's the ones who.
And you heard BML come out and what they were saying, and I wonder how this January 6th is going to go. Is BML going to be there? Is there going to be riots on January 6th when
I think you're going to see something,
Kamala Harris signs the election on January 6th? I mean,
it's not going to be quiet. I don't think. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it is.
I hope, but we found out from the last Trump administration it wasn't.
No, and they're already preparing Black Lives BLM
peaceful, protests.
Yeah, and keep in mind, folks, BLM once they called leaders of the BLM in New York called for going out and literally rioting in support of again the Daniel Perry non-guilty verdict, which is what should have been done, folks. This shouldn't even have gotten that far. But you got to remember one thing about Black Lives Matter, especially. They make money when there's racial tension. They that's it. That's the only way they make money is racial tension. So they have to cause it.
Yeah, and the only ones making money are the higher ups in that organization. It's nothing, nobody underneath them. It's all the top people making money.
Yep. So how drunk do you think Kamala will be on January 6th?
Well,
probably.
I think
let's talk
probably
about the
pretty
5th
drunk.
Too, because she's probably going to start drinking on the 5th.
If she hasn't already started drinking.
And here's another one. So they could pin label insurrectionists on Trump. So it's
right.
Great point, Tony. This is exactly why they did this. It's what they did. It was a setup from the beginning, and we didn't fall for it.
But are we going to fall for it this time? Are we?
Even those who didn't. Go ahead.
Right. No, go ahead.
No, even those who didn't believe it necessarily came over to his side because they saw what was going on. You know, they see that this administration cares more about people who have been in this country 3 years or less. They care more about them. They don't care about our people that are being murdered, raped, gangs. They don't care about the 350,000 children that have gone missing. You know, we saw remember AOC back in 2016 and 17 and 18 when going to the cages and leaning down and just pretending to cry. Where is which by the way Obama put in to play, but where's the crying now for the children missing? They don't even talk about it.
300,000 children
even
missing.
Talk about it. So
300,000.
Yeah, and it's just keep our fingers crossed and pray, and we'll go into that. But I wanted to talk about the college football playoff real quick,
Go for it.
Because I thought this was the right move. We all wanted it expanded, right? We knew the 4-team playoff would that 5th and 6th team probably is better than that second, third team, right? So we go to 12. We think, the 13th team has less of an argument. So they do this great job, and then they screw the damn thing up. You can't tell me Boise State and Arizona State are the 3rd and 4th best team. Okay, so you take the number 1 team in the country who's not lost a game, who went all the way through the Big Ten, Oregon, won the Big Ten title. They're the number 1 seed. Guess who they get to play? The winner of Ohio State and Tennessee.
Really?
And so Boise, guess who they get to play?
13th seed.
If I'm getting this right, Boise State gets to play the winner of the Penn State and SMU game. So if you're Penn State, I'm feeling pretty good about getting to the Final Four. Okay?
Absolutely.
Here's this even worse. Texas gets to play Clemson, who shouldn't. The only reason they're there is because they won the conference championship. This is not a good Clemson team, folks. It's not. Okay. So we come into here. Texas then gets to play Arizona State. Where would you rather be if you were Texas?
Exactly.
I'd rather be right where they're at. Again,
right.
Penn State and Texas have the easiest trip, but the number 1 and number 2 seeds have the hardest track. So, folks,
isn't it supposed to be it's supposed to be the other way?
Yep. Get the conference champions in. Get them in, but then reseed them. It is seeded 1 through 12.
Right.
That's how it should be.
In any whether it be the NFL or NBA or anything or MLB, it's always top seed plays the bottom seed first.
The way it should be, but that's not how.
And then because you ultimately you want the 2 best teams fighting it out. I mean, that's where it comes down to, because you and I both know number 1 seed can lose to a bottom seed. And it happens. But when you have a 1 and 2 or a 1 and 3 seed playing together, that's a tough game already. That's a bowl game. That's a Super Bowl. That's a NBA playoff game. So because right now, if I'm Texas and Penn State, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Absolutely.
I truly am. I'm feeling a lot better than I am the number 1 or number 2 seed, because Georgia, they get to play the winner of Indiana and Notre Dame. Now, more than likely, I am a huge Indiana fan, but more than likely it's going to be Notre Dame. And that defense in Notre Dame is not easy. And if you're going to have your backup quarterback because Beck got hurt, so Notre Dame now possibly could be there. And so are we getting the best teams? And it's only because the way it's seeded. You're not. You truly are not. And so I just want that's all my thing is. So I don't, and I know they're not listening to me because they don't care. So, but college football, we did it right by adding more teams. We did.
But they don't have the breakdown
Seed 'em
properly.
correctly.
Right. Seed it
Because
correctly.
Boise State, great year, great running back. They're not the third best team in the country.
Right.
And Arizona State, you had a great end of the season. You had a run. I wouldn't want to face you at this point in time, but you're not the fourth best team in the country. And Alabama fans, which I like Alabama, don't stop talking to me about the teams you beat. Let's talk about the teams you lost to, which is why you're not in.
Right.
You lost to unranked teams. Yeah, you beat Georgia. Way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But then you lost to Oklahoma.
Right.
Which is not really good this year. So anyway, all right. So that's my
That's your little rant on all
rant
that. Your little rant.
They're getting it close to being right. Somebody even said, let's just do a 64 team playoff just like they do in the. And I'm like, okay, so we have a three game regular season, and then we got to do. Then we have to do the seeds, but I don't think we can do that. So, folks, we're going to close it up after this, but let's hear from Warrior Shield. It is Warrior Shield Wednesday.
Warrior Shield Foundation is here to unite, honor, and provide support for veterans, first responders, and Gold Star family members. The foundation will enable them to find the help they need through direct assistance or by connecting them with our shared vision network. Using data-driven models, we provide solutions that make a long-lasting difference. We, along with our partners, are dedicated to bringing together like-minded groups and individuals who have committed to making a difference in the lives of our hardworking, everyday heroes. We bridge the gap by connecting warriors or their families with the assistance they deserve and require, such as service dogs, wheelchairs, counseling, scholarships, and team-building retreats, to name a few. You can help right now to make a difference for those who have helped and protected us all. Warrior Shield Foundation, selflessly doing for those who need it most.
It's a long way to home, but you won't take the hard road all alone. Just look to your left and look to your right. You were born to fight.
Wow. Hey, real quick, warriorshield.org. We take donations for our event coming up in September. And the artist singing behind that is Ryan Weaver. You go to him at ryanweaver.net. I like to plug him. Also on our commercial, that's Ryan is Weaver as well. And if you come to the event in September in Orlando, Florida, on the 5th and 6th, there's a concert on the 5th, and Ryan will be performing there, so you can hear him live.
He never tires.
He's the energy bunny. That's what we call him.
He's guys. He's great. I mean, and we are. And you want to talk about having Steve and Wayne on together? We are literally talking about. I don't know if you know this, Rich, but we really want to have you, Chance, and Ryan on together to talk about Warrior Shield. Talk about when we get closer. As we get closer, we want you guys have you on at least 2 or 3 times leading up to it. And folks, you get those 3 together. I just wish I could get Tigan on it. We can get him on too. This good night. But I won't say a word. We just sit back. So yes, and it is ryanweaver.net. That is where you find his music. Folks, it is fantastic. He's 100% Patriot. So
right. And
Warrior Shield Foundation, please go to warriorshield.org. Donate $5.
Anything helps help us be able to put on the event that we do in September in Orlando at the Rosin Center. So any donation, whether it be $1, $5, $25, whatever, we appreciate everything. That money goes back to that event to support veterans.
Unlike BLM, 100% of donations go towards.
We don't take a salary. For any of us board members do not take a salary. down from Chance down to myself and Steve and everybody in between, the secretary, the event coordinator. We don't take a salary. We do it all volunteer. So it's a good organization. Check it out. You can go on their website and check it out. And
Great
feel
people.
free to contact any of us through the website, and we'd be glad to reach out to you.
Yep. And reach out to us to get in touch
Right.
with. Get in touch. We can do either way. We'll get you in touch with what you need to do.
And go to Ryan and pick up his music.
Yeah.
He is phenomenal.
Stress
A
that.
22-year veteran, 2 Gold Star member. He was a Black Hawk aviator. So just a cool dude, individual, just great person.
And we have Tanya from Corporal Chatto. Should be
yes.
come out first of the year. Steve,
correct, right?
So she'll be on, and we have another, but I think we're going to have to push it back with Dale because I know Dale's going to want to be on, but I don't want to say the name yet until we confirm it. But we do have a Gold Star mom, who went on Fox and who's been going around defending Pete Hegseth, and we are going to have her on for an interview.
Very cool. Cool.
But I think we're going to have to push that back with it. And folks, to end here, again, if you're joining us late or if you've been following us, please, we need prayers for Dale and his family. He's they're going through some tough times right now, and they need all the prayers and support they can get. We love Dale. Dale and his family are fantastic. They're just a fantastic family. Let's pray for them, and let's pray. Just give them all the support they can. And then I have a personal thing I'd like to reach out. It is the year anniversary of my brother-in-law passing. So, and I know my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, I'm going to say their names. Hopefully don't get mad, but Bob and Gloria and my wife, Lori, his daughter, Audrey, my daughter, Kara, my son, Josh, everybody who is part of the family, pray for them as well. Cause it's a year, and it is coming to Christmas time. And, so prayers for my family as well. Prayer for Dale's family. It's hard when it happens during this time of year. Right. So prayers, you keep in mind, that we have this, and anybody else out there who is going through similar things, we send you our prayers. We send you our support. We are a family. The Patriots Prayer Network is just absolutely phenomenal. Eddie and Maurice, the leadership that they've shown. Just please go out and support the Patriots Prayer Network and all the personalities that we have. We are all like-minded people. We deliver things differently, but it's all the same message.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that that gets out there. So,
and Jim,
letting us. I know I see you down there, Eddie. But thank you for letting Dale and I be a part of your family. I can't say, thank you, Mike from To the Point podcast. Seth from our family from the Conservative Corner podcast. He was in a car accident. And he is in the hospital. So prayers for him as well. Make sure that he gets those messages and those prayers. I haven't heard any update from today, but he was a little dizzy, and he wasn't. They did admit him. So prayers for him as well. So
a lot of prayers, a lot of prayers.
Folks,
we'll
be back Monday. Yep. I definitely will be, and more than likely, Rich, if you don't mind.
You want me to come back Monday?
I
possibly.
Maybe, but maybe one way or the other, we'll have you back anyway.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Dale, just again, prayers for Dale. I love you, man.
Yes.
Everybody out there loves you. Take care.
Yes, Dale.
God bless America, folks. We're getting closer.
January 20th. Can't get here soon enough.
Yep. God bless everyone, and thanks for watching. And we will. I gotta get it. Got it. Ready to go. God bless. Have a good week.
Yes.